I mean, you talked about the whole Malcolm and Eddie thing. Like, what do you think was some of the most racist things that you've dealt with being in Hollywood?
Hollywood, man.
Just Hollywood in general?
Yes.
Me and Eddie really did not get along.
In real life?
In real life.
I did not know this.
Yeah. Like
okay.
we didn't get. But every single week before taping, we'd come together. We'd put our hands together. We'd bow and we'd pray before we go out.
Just wanted to remind you, as I remind myself, that no matter what's going on, there's always a reason to smile.
Let's keep it a buck. Malcolm-Jamal Warner didn't just play Theo Huxtable, he played the whole damn game better than most. And when he died suddenly, what did Hollywood do? Blinked, shrugged, swiped past. Meanwhile, a B-list actor from a toothpaste commercial gets a 4-hour montage and a Jimmy Kimmel sob fest. Nah, Eddie Griffin saw it too, and he didn't just cry. He snapped. Because this wasn't just a death, it was a disappearance, a hit job on a legacy. And Eddie's calling it what it is.
All right, you see the money they'll put behind an unknown white talent just starting out, right? When we all came out of it, this goes from Martin's show to me and Malcolm's show.
Hollywood gave Malcolm the silent treatment on purpose. Not sloppy, not forgetful, intentional. The same industry that fed off black brilliance for decades suddenly caught a case of amnesia? Yeah, okay. Let's not pretend Malcolm was some quiet background figure. The man helped raise a generation, then flipped it and gave us Malcolm Eddie, two unapologetically black men living loud and free on primetime TV. Back when that was practically a revolutionary act, that show didn't just entertain, it challenged what was acceptable blackness on screen.
I'm tired of running for shade. And aren't you tired of being hustled and played? And aren't we all tired of crying about how hard it is to be black in America, even if it looks like we've got it made?
Spoiler alert, that made execs real uncomfortable. But Malcolm kept it classy, kept it smart, and kept telling the truth, even when it cost him screen time, roles, and recognition. He spoke on media whitewashing before it was trending. He called out how Hollywood flinched at positive black male images like it was allergic. And now, with his passing, they're proving him right all over again. Eddie Griffin ain't having it. He didn't just lose a peer, he lost a partner in the resistance.
Business claim. Michael Jackson, fuck little white children.
Michael Jordan?
Michael Jordan, gambled.
Right, and then his dad got killed.
You understand?
They try to tie that.
You're not going to die clean.
And watching Malcolm's erasure unfold in real time lit a fuse. Because this ain't about one man, it's about a pattern, a system, a damn cycle, where black icons die and Hollywood barely bats a lash unless there's clout to be harvested or headlines to chase. So here's the twist. Maybe Malcolm knew this would happen. Maybe that's why he stayed vocal, stayed righteous, stayed loud. Because if the industry ever tried to erase him, he made damn sure the truth would outlive the silence. Malcolm-Jamal Warner had just come off The Cosby Show, a cultural juggernaut that showed black people living with dignity, rocking sweaters, and paying mortgages. So naturally, when he signed on for Malcolm Eddie, he thought he'd just graduated to building the next black TV dynasty. Spoiler alert, Hollywood said, "Not so fast, Theo." What Malcolm didn't know: Cosby had a rare unicorn-level deal, full creative control. He could look a network exec dead in the eye and say, "We're not doing that Coonsh asterisk T," and they'd listen. Malcolm, on the other hand, he was handed a script where his character was one car wash away from a stereotype, and if he said anything, they'd call him difficult. That was his rude awakening. Dignity in black storytelling wasn't standard. It was a fluke. Cosby had shielded him from the industry's true face. Once Malcolm stepped out from under that protection, the mask slipped. And what did he see? Writers obsessed with caricatures, executives allergic to nuance, producers pitching urban scripts like they were selling malt liquor. And when he dared to push back, they didn't argue, they canceled. Let's talk numbers. Malcolm Eddie ended at 88 episodes. Sounds respectable? Until you realize 100 is the magic number for syndication. That's the finish line where the checks keep coming, long after the cameras stop rolling. But instead of letting them coast into TV history with dignity, UPN cut them off early. Why? Not ratings, not budget. Because Malcolm and Eddie had the nerve to say, "We're not tap dancing for your bottom line." So, the message from Hollywood was loud and clear. Stand up for yourself and we'll snatch your financial freedom. represent your people with care, and will ghost you before the ink dries. Speak truth, prepare to pay in full. By 2016, Malcolm had a front row seat to the industry's new hustle. Cheap reality TV, drama-filled train wrecks, and black folks painted like cartoon villains. Why write a thoughtful black family sitcom when you can throw wine glasses and collect ad revenue? Reality TV was the new minstrel show, only this time, the tap shoes came with a ring light and a confessional booth. For Malcolm, it wasn't just a shift in TV, it was a gut punch to everything he stood for. He watched networks pump out toxic images of black folks for profit while refusing to fund anything real. Complex characters? Black joy? Community? Nah, just more ratchet chaos and memeable mess. So, when Malcolm spoke up, again and again, it wasn't just about scripts. It was about survival, about legacy, about trying to make sure the next generation didn't grow up thinking love hip-hop was the height of black culture. While Malcolm-Jamal Warner was out here playing chess with his words, Eddie Griffin came in swinging with a flamethrower. No filter, no PR coach, just facts and fury. Because Eddie didn't need a press release to see what was happening, he'd lived it. And when Malcolm passed, Eddie wasn't just grieving, he was side-eyeing the entire damn industry. Let's be real, Eddie had been calling this mess out for years. He'd seen the pattern like a rerun on BET. Successful black man rises up, gets too powerful, refuses to shuck and jive, then boom! Scandal, controversy, legacy wrecked. And not in some organic, oops, bad decision way. No, it always smelled manufactured, timed, and targeted. So when Eddie defended Bill Cosby, it wasn't just about innocence or guilt. It was about patterns, about how every time a black man reached a level where he could influence generations, really move the culture, the machine came for him. Michael Jackson, genius turned monster in the media before he could even moonwalk into legacy status. Suspicious headlines and his father's tragic murder still shrouded in mystery. Cosby went from America's dad to public enemy #1 overnight, with decades of goodwill erased like a chalkboard. Eddie said what others were afraid to whisper, this doesn't happen to white men the same way. When a white actor gets caught wildin' out, he's a troubled genius or battling demons. But let a black man slip, and suddenly his whole race is up for trial. And now, Malcolm. Gone too fast, too quietly, and too conveniently. Let's not forget, right before his death, Malcolm was speaking more boldly than ever. Not coded, not cautious, just calling it like it is. That Hollywood thrives off stereotypes, rewards silence, and punishes those who fight back. He even announced plans for an autobiography, the kind with names, dates, and receipts. Then suddenly, radio silence. No headlines, no tribute, just erasure. Eddie's response? Less RIP, more WTF? He didn't just post a sad quote and move on. He questioned the timing, the coverage, the whole situation. Because in his eyes and in the eyes of many in the black community, this wasn't just a death. This was a warning shot. A familiar ending to a familiar story. Hollywood doesn't just bury black men, it buries their impact. And Eddie, he's not letting them shovel dirt on Malcolm's name without a fight. Because if Malcolm was erased, it won't be for memory, it'll be for motive. And Eddie's making damn sure we don't miss the bigger picture. The timeline ain't subtle, it's screaming. There's a pattern here, and Eddie Griffin's been circling it in permanent marker for years. But this is bigger than just one death. Eddie's not just mourning, he's warning. Because this is what always happens when a black man speaks too clearly, shines too brightly, or pushes too hard against the machine. They either kill your image, kill your career, or kill the conversation about what you meant to your people. The kicker? Malcolm saw it coming. In his last months, he wasn't coasting, he was coaching, mentoring young black artists, breaking down the game behind the game, showing folks how to reclaim their stories, their power, their narratives. He wasn't just trying to make peace, he was starting a revolution. Eddie and Malcolm weren't just co-stars, they were co-conspirators in a cultural resistance. And the system? It saw them coming, knew what they were doing, knew what Malcolm's legacy could become, and decided to reduce him before the world could reframe him. Because here's the ugly truth. Black men in Hollywood don't get clean exits. They get cautionary tales, if they're lucky. They get buried beneath scandal, or silence, or both. And if they challenge the status quo, the machine doesn't just forget them, it erases them. Eddie Griffin isn't just angry, he's exposing the blueprint. Malcolm didn't just die, he disappeared. And unless we start shouting his name and protecting the ones who come after him, this pattern will play on repeat, like reruns of a show that never got the credit it deserved. Anyway, that's it for the video, folks. Stay loud, stay woke, and never let them write our endings for us. Bye.